Hi everyone, welcome to our session today. Today we're going to be focusing on COVID-19 and any of your feelings or thoughts around COVID-19. We're going to work on identifying some of those for you and hopefully helping you to delete some of those. So if you're just joining us here today, I just want to welcome you again to our show. This is our Facebook Live on COVID-19 and any of your thoughts or feelings or emotions you're feeling around that. I'm here to help you identify those and release those using the emotion code program. So some of you may not be familiar with the emotion code, but the emotion code was written by Dr. Bradley Nelson. The book was written here in 2007 when it first came out, and it's all about how emotions impact our health and well-being, our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, just showing you how these emotions can impact everything in our lives. And especially this time during the COVID-19 with all this stress going on here today, we are certainly myself and many of my friends and colleagues are certainly having to deal with all of this as well as yourself. And how do we deal with this? And how do we deal with all the mental stress and the emotional stress that's around this? It's something that's very real. It's something that affects us. It affects our families, our friends, our workmates. It's had a huge impact on the world overall. And a lot of those impacts have been emotions that we felt. Perhaps it's anger, maybe it's fear, maybe it's worry, maybe it's some frustration around all this. So I'm just here asking for volunteers that would like to participate in the program. And there's 4 criteria for the program. First of all, you need to identify the emotion or the thoughts that you're having around COVID-19. So once you identify those emotions, then what we'll do is we will ask you for the severity of that emotion on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being very severe. So for example, if you're feeling some anxiety around this whole COVID-19, then what's your severity? Is it a 5 out of 10 for you? Is it an 8 out of 10 for you? And then the next criteria is for us to have your permission so that we can do some work on you. And once we've done some work on you, we ask you in about a minute or so afterwards just to write in our comments here, just give us an update on how you're doing. So again, if you're just joining us, I want to welcome you to our free COVID-19 Minute Clinic. And on our Minute Clinic, what we're doing here is we're going to be helping people delete any emotions that may be feeling around the COVID-19. Just a little bit about myself. My name is John Schlapbach, and I'm from the Okanagan Valley, from Kelowna, British Columbia. I don't know if you've been to BC before, but I live about 300 miles in the interior from the coast. It's a semi-arid area. We grow lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of wineries here as well. So it's a wonderful place. They call it the Four Seasons Playground. So if you're just joining us here today, just give us a sense of what you're feeling or thinking around COVID-19, whether it's some fear around there, maybe some anxiety, maybe some worry, whatever it is you're feeling around there. And we're going to help you delete that. So my background is in holistic health. I've been involved with holistic health since 1969 is when I started my holistic health career. I started doing it with nutrition, and then I moved into working with the body, and then I became a registered massage therapist. So I spent many years working on a lot of people with all kinds of health, musculoskeletal and health problems, back problems, shoulder problems, etc. And I also was at the time started studying the mind and how the mind impacts our lives, our thoughts, our behaviors, our successes. Everything is impacted by the mind. As a matter of fact, as we know, the mind runs the body doesn't run the mind. So when we're working with the mind here, like we are with the Emotion Code program, then we can help you get to the source of your issues, whatever it is, whether it's a physical pain, whether it's depression, whether it's relationship issues, money blocks, all of that, most of that all starts up here in the head, and a lot of that is based on our emotions and what we think and what we feel, and our past experiences as well can determine a lot of our responses, our behaviors. So it's something that I discovered was that through working with Dr. Nelson, I discovered how important emotions are. Did you know that each emotion that you experience, whether it is fear or worry or anger, each emotion is generated by a particular organ or gland? For example, anger is generated by the liver, depression by the liver, fear by the and peeved and also fear and peeved and horror and all those things. Creative insecurity, they're all created through the kidneys, and the kidneys connect to the upper back, the neck, the jaw, and the hips. The liver connects to your shoulders as well. So some of these emotions that we're feeling and that we're unprocessing around our different events in our life are impacting certain organs or glands, and also they could end up affecting certain parts of the body. So the emotion code is just a simple way to identify and release these emotions. So if you're just joining us here today, welcome to our COVID-19 Minute Clinic, where we're going to help work with you to identify any emotions that you may be experiencing, thinking or experiencing in regards to COVID-19. And I'm here to help you delete those emotions. Let me share a couple of stories with you. When I first started doing this work, I was dealing with some mild depression. It was from a divorce I'd been going through. And I was sort of caught up in that, and I wasn't sure how to get out of that. I knew that exercise would help, meditation, a lot of things would help. But what I didn't realize was that during the whole process, I was holding on to certain emotions, anger, frustration, fear, and I was holding on to these emotions, and so these emotions were becoming trapped within my body, and they were causing some health issues for me. So when I started researching, again, more the mind and the mind-body, and I came across Dr. Nelson's book, The Emotion Code, I started to realize that how these emotions were impacting me, and that I could actually get rid of these emotions. I didn't have to live with them. I could delete these emotions, and I could feel a lot better, a lot healthier, a lot happier. So I started working on myself initially, and within a short time, I was starting to use it with my patients. As a massage therapist, I was starting to realize that if someone came in with a shoulder problem, that perhaps part of what was going on there wasn't some emotions which are being generated by different organs and glands which are ending up in the shoulder. So this is what we quite often refer to as unexplained pain, chronic pain. And a lot of it is emotionally based. So again, if you just joined us today, we're doing COVID-19. We're asking for you, for volunteers to submit if you're dealing with some kind of an issue to do with COVID-19. We're just asking you to give us an idea of any emotions or any thoughts you have around that, the severity of that issue for you on a scale of 1 to 10, and we need your permission so that we can work on these emotions, and we can delete them for you within a minute. So again, the emotion code is something that is going all over the world, and it's very fast, it's very efficient, it's very effective, And it's something that I've been doing for many years and helping people at a distance. And the way we do this is through a 7-step process. First of all, we use what we call the emotion code chart here. And there's 60 emotions on this chart, and each emotion, it's in 2 columns and 6 rows and 5 emotions in each section. So each one of these emotions can be generated by different organs and glands. For example, the heart can generate heartache and insecurity and vulnerability and betrayal. And the stomach can generate worry and nervousness. We've heard of a nervous stomach before, and a lot of that is caused, or digestive issues are actually caused from these unprocessed or trapped emotions. So it's easy to identify them, so we use a 7-step process. We use the emotion code chart. We use what we call muscle testing, and muscle testing is a form of, it's called applied kinesiology. Applied kinesiology has been around for many, many years. I started using this back in, probably I would say in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, where I was muscle testing, learning how to muscle test for nutritional supplements. And so the way I do this, I use what's called a ring and ring method here. And a ring and ring method is when I'm asking a question, I'm looking for a yes or no answer. So a yes would be like a strong response, a no would be like a weak response. So if I'm looking for an emotion, I'm going to ask, is it in column A or column B? Is it in row 1, row 2, row 3? Once we get the proper column in the row, then I will test. There's 5 emotions there. We'll find out which one it is. And once we find out what emotion that is, using your permission, of course, and knowing the severity of it, what we do is we delete that emotion. And we delete that emotion using a magnet. And why do we use a magnet? Because a magnet is a pure form of energy. It can't be adulterated. So we use a magnet and we run it across our central governing meridian here. It runs right through your eyebrows, right across, right to the base of your spine. And it connects to everything in your body. And so we run it, usually for most emotions, we're going to run it about 3 times over there to help to delete this. So what we're doing is we're deleting that emotion from your hard drive. Sort of cleaning up your hard drive, getting rid of those emotional viruses that are in your system. And then once we've done that, then we make sure that we give it a little bit of time and we see what's happening. If it's a shoulder pain or a back pain, we see if it's gone from an 8 to a 3 or from a 5 down to a 2. What we want to do is we want to delete those emotions and we want to get them down to a 0 whenever possible. So if you're thinking of COVID-19 and you're having maybe some emotions around that, some feelings, some thoughts that maybe are affecting your overall well-being, then we're looking for volunteers today so that I can work on them and release those, delete those emotions for you within a minute or so. I was working on someone the other week as well, and they were self-employed, and like myself, small business owner, and they were mentioning to me how their business has gone down, and I know some of you have experienced this, or maybe some of you are out of work right now due to COVID-19. So definitely, I would be looking for ways to help them. And so what I found was they had a few emotions that were happening that were in their caught up in their energy field. And what I did, again, I used the emotion code chart here to help identify the emotions. Was it in column A, column B? Once I found that emotion, I was able to delete it for them. I deleted a couple of emotions for them, and I know afterwards they had reported to me that they felt much, much lighter, much happier. So it's really, we're getting rid of emotional baggage. And getting rid of emotional baggage is something that serves you in a lot of ways, because when you carry this baggage, you carry this baggage into your relationships. You carry this baggage into your workplaces, into your ability to earn money, into your overall health and well-being. We do know that if you do not express these emotions and they get caught up in your energy field, they can actually make you sick as well. And and no one likes to get sick, but the fact is, when we have these emotions caught up in our energy field, what happens is these emotions can lower our immune system. So I was doing this a few weeks ago as well. I was checking out their immune systems and checking to see how well they're functioning on percentage-wise. For example, if I had your permission to check the immune system, I would ask, is it functioning over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%? We find out what percentage it's functioning at, and then we ask the subconscious mind, why is this happening at that level? And what can we do to help to get your immune system up? So trapped emotions or unprocessed emotions can affect your immune system. And by releasing or deleting these emotions, we can definitely help boost your immune system. So again, if you're watching today, I'm doing some live COVID minute clinic here on COVID-19 and any feelings or emotions that you may be experiencing. We're going to look to delete them. And I have here's one from Lana here. She mentions there is some emotion here of feeling some depression, and it's about a 7 out of 10 for severity. And it's having an impact on her life. So I have your permission here, Lana. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to access your subconscious mind. And the way we do this, again, we do this through muscle testing and with your permission. So the subconscious mind, which is what we're working with, is your super mind. In other words, it knows everything about you. It knows everything that you've tasted, touched, experienced in your whole life. It's all recorded there in your subconscious mind. Every little experience is there, and some of these experiences from the past you're still holding on to some of those emotions, and those emotions are impacting you in the present. So here, what I'm going to do here now, with Lana's permission, I'm going to muscle test. First of all, my name is John, and I'm getting a yes. My name is Bob. No. Am I ready to do some muscle testing here? Yes, I am. So I want to make sure that I'm well hydrated as well. So I'm going to have a little sip of water here. And if you have any water, it's good to drink water while you're having your session. During and after your session, it helps to process this and helps your body to release the stress around these emotions. So I'm going to have a little sip of water here. Am I hydrated enough here to work on Lana? Yes. So let's see. So now can I act as a proxy for Lana? Yes, I can. Do I have a good connection? Yes. So now, am I Lana? Yes, I'm Lana. So let me ask you, is there something that we can release for you, Lana, around this whole COVID-19? Is there something that we can release for you around this? Yes. Is it emotional? I'm getting a yes. And how many emotions are we talking about? There's actually 3 emotions here, Lana, that we're coming up with here. So again, once we identify those emotions, then we're going to delete them. So let me see, what is the first emotion? I'm going to go to my chart here, and I'm going to ask, is it in column A? Yes. Column B? No. Which row is it in? Is it in row 1, 2, 3, 4? That's the liver gallbladder. Remember, liver gallbladder can affect your shoulder as well, and your digestive system. So what's the first one here? Is it anger, bitterness, guilt? There's some resentment there, Lana, in regards to this whole issue here. So you're holding on to some resentment. And imagine that these emotions, every emotion vibrates at its own frequency. So imagine this resentment, part of your energy field is vibrating at resentment. And when that happens, what happens? You start to, when you vibrate at resentment, you start to attract more of that into your life through the law of attraction. Whatever you vibrate at, whatever emotions you vibrate at are the ones that you attract. So the first one is resentment. And what's the second one? Is it in column A? No, it's in column B. Which row? 1, 2, 3, 4 again. It is depression. So there is an emotion of depression there as well. So resentment and depression are showing up around this whole issue for you, Lana. And there was 3 of them. So what's the next one? Is it in column A, column B? Which row? Row number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the kidney bladder row. And let's see, which one is it? Is it creative insecurity? Is it conflict, terror? This is unsupported, feeling unsupported to do something with the COVID-19. I don't know whether it's to do with work or relationship or whatever it is, money. Unsupported is a very, very common emotion that comes up especially for women. I find that a lot when I work with a lot of women around the world, and that is an emotion that comes up quite frequently for them. So now that we've identified those emotions of resentment, depression, and unsupported, I'm going to delete them for you. And we're going to use a magnet, and we're going to run it along the central governing meridian. And for most emotions, we're going to run that magnet at least 3 times. But I'm going to make a few assumptions here, because sometimes these emotions are not only showing up as trapped emotions, sometimes they're hidden. Sometimes these emotions are actually absorbed from someone else. So I'm going to ask, what is the severity then of this issue for you around this whole COVID-19 on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? It's actually a 10 out of 10, Lana. So that's very severe. So we're going to release the emotion. We're releasing the resentment here. And just to make any assumption here, any hidden resentment around this whole COVID-19 and any shared resentment and any absorbed resentment, and these are emotions we can pick up from other people and take on, and any vibrational resonances of resentment here. And then we're also going to release the depression for you around this, and any hidden depression and absorbed depression and shared depression and vibrational resonances of depression. And also we're going to release the unsupported for you, and any hidden unsupported, and any shared unsupported, absorbed unsupported, even vibrational resonances unsupported. I'm going to have you take a breath on that here. And did release those emotions then for you then, Lana? Yes, we did. Were they released to 100%? Yes, I always want to make sure they're released to 100%. So now what is the severity of that issue for you now on a scale of 1 to 10 around COVID-19? Is it a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3? It's down to a 2 now. It's a 2 out of 10. So I'm not really happy with that. I like to get it down to a 0. So I'm going to ask, is there any other underlying reason why this severity of this has only gone down to a 3 or a 2 out of 10? I'm asking your subconscious, yes, I'm getting a yes. So is it emotional? No, there's actually what we call a trauma energy here. And trauma energies are very common. I'm going to show you my list here. These are lists of trauma energies here. And I'm going to ask, which trauma energy are we talking about for you here? Just one. And it's tied into the COVID-19 as well. So is it in column A? No. Column B, column C. Which row? 1, 2, 3. And there's a trauma energy here. I'm just having a look at my chart here. There's some apprehension here. A trauma energy of apprehension as well. So you may be able to relate to this whole idea of apprehension. So do we need to know more? Is this your own trauma energy of apprehension? Yes, it is. Do we need to know more in order to release it for you then? No, we don't. So again, we're going to use the magnet on the central governing meridian. We're releasing the trauma energy here of apprehension. And any hidden trauma energies of apprehension as well, and shared trauma energies of apprehension, and absorbed trauma energies of apprehension. And let's take a breath on that one. And did we release that one for you then, Lana? Yes, we did. Was it released to 100%? Yes. So now that we released or deleted those emotions and those trauma energies, I'm going to ask, Lana, what was the severity of this issue for you now around COVID-19 to do with these emotions, these thoughts? Is it a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? It's down to a 0 now. And that's what we want to do whenever we're working on someone, whether it's chronic pain, whether it's a digestive problem, whether it's anger issues, whether it's relationship issues, money blocks. We want to delete as much as we can to try to lower that severity down to a 0. So if you're still watching here, Lana would just ask you to make a little comment here after a minute or so. Let me know how you feel. There we go. And it's interesting about this work because I work with people all over the world, and I've worked with people in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, in Brazil, in Canada, US, in Portugal. People will call me up and they have an issue, again, whether it's a health issue, relationship, money, success, whether it's things like just feeling something that happened to you 10 years ago and you're still holding on to that emotion and it's still impacting you today. We can identify those using the emotion code and help to release some of those emotions for you so you can feel a little lighter, a little happier, a little healthier. If you go to my website, it's visionshealing.com. You can go on there and you can download what's called a menu. And I'm going to show you the menu here. This menu here is on my free download on my website, visionshealing.com. And these are some of the things, I'm just going to share some of the things I've worked with people with over the years. Addictions, aching wrists, fingers and hands, back pain, lower, middle, upper, blocked nasal passages, seasonal allergies, hormonal issues, limiting beliefs around weight loss, limiting beliefs around success, writer's block, broken hearts, frustration, grief, sinus problems, sadness, restless legs, panic attacks. It goes on and on and on. These are all things that I've helped people with over the years using the emotion code. So now I'm getting I got a little message here from Lana. She's saying she's feeling a wave of relief after release those emotions for her and that trauma energy. And she gives me the big thumbs up. Thanks, Lana. Thanks for volunteering. So again, if you're just joining us today, we're doing a COVID-19 minute clinic. Any emotions or any thoughts you may have around that are affecting you, maybe you or your family, maybe your own health. We're here just to identify some of these emotions and within a minute or two, just release them for you. So hopefully you can feel a little better, a little happier, a little healthier. And I'm just going to go back here, if I have your permission, Lana, I'm just going to go back here and let's do a sample here. This is what we call the body code, because I am a certified body code and emotion code practitioner, and the body code is the master program. The emotion code plays a huge part of that. As a matter of fact, most of the time when we have an issue, at least 80% of the time there's emotions based. Even the Center for Disease Control says that 80% of all diseases have an emotional component. And I actually really believe it's from the work we've been doing and Dr. Nelson over many years that it's probably at least 100% of all health issues have emotional components. So let's check here. Can I act as a proxy here then for Lana? Yes, I can. Am I Lana? Yes, am I John? No. So what was the functioning of your immune system before we started doing this work? How well is it functioning on a percentage scale? Was it functioning over 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70? So again, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So 60, 61, 62, 63, 65%. So the immune system was only running at 65% before we started doing this work. So remember, these trapped emotions or unprocessed emotions can affect your immune system. And when you're feeling stressed or you're feeling angry, you're feeling anxiety, your immune system is getting lower, and that's making you more susceptible to these types of viruses or colds or flus, whatever's going around, you become more susceptible. So let me ask, what is the percentage of your functioning of your immune system now here, Lana, on us? Percentage-wise, is it functioning over 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100? We're running at 95% now with your immune system. So how long did that take, Lana? It took just a couple of minutes to identify the emotions, to release them. Now that immune system is back up to 95%. And we do want a healthy immune system because our whole health is impacted by our immune system. And everything affects our immune system. Stress affect, especially any type of stress, whether it's injury, whether it's emotional stress, mental stress, whether it's even spiritual stress sometimes. It all impacts our immune system because everything is interconnected and everything vibrates together. So we're running at 95%, Lana. That's great. It's great to get it up there because you want to keep your immune system healthy. So again, if you just joined us, we're doing a minute clinic here for COVID-19. If you'd like to volunteer, just give us your name, where you're from, the severity of this emotion or these emotions or these thoughts for you around COVID-19. Give us some permission and we'll do some work on you and see what happens. Again, it's a minute clinic. It doesn't take long to release these emotions. So we're inviting you to volunteer here. I was also working on someone a couple of weeks ago who was, they were dealing with some back pain, and actually what we found was there was a couple of emotions that were caught up in their lower back. And they were in the kidney area, and the kidney again affects your lower back. It affects your neck, your shoulder. So sometimes when you have a lower back issue, it's not just a physical problem. It may show up physically, but it can impact you emotionally. So what we found was there were some emotions that she was experiencing, and those emotions were tied into this whole COVID-19. And there's two emotions there. And again, they're in the kidneys. So let me see, what were they again? I'm just having a look at my chart. I think the one was, it was conflict was one of them. And the other one was dread. Dread and conflict were the emotions that were impacting her lower back. And these particular emotions were tied into the COVID-19. So I identified the emotions, I deleted the emotions for her, and within a few minutes she said that her back pain, which was about a 7 out of 10, went down to about a 2 or 3. So if you think that most of your issues are just physically based, then one thing to realize is that we are a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And in order to be healthy, we need to be healthy on all of those levels, not just physically. We need to have emotional well-being and mental well-being and spiritual well-being. All those things are part of being healthy. So when there's emotions involved, the nice thing is, using our handy-dandy here emotion code chart, we can just muscle test and ask the subconscious mind, what emotion are we talking about, or how many emotions are we talking about dealing with this issue for you? And once we identify them, we can delete them using a magnet and intention. So again, we run that magnet along the central governing meridian. For most emotions, we're going to run it about 3 times, and we're deleting it from your hard drive here, deleting that emotion. And it gets deleted right away. And whatever emotion that we delete for you, that emotion is gone and gone forever from your energy field. Now, you can create new emotions. Dr. Nelson states that pretty well every day we could trap 1 emotion in our energy field on average. And imagine if you've been through some type of a stressful event, and as we're dealing with today with COVID-19, there's a lot of emotions that people are feeling around this. A lot of fears, a lot of anger, frustration, a lot of these things around there. And these emotions are impacting your life, how you feel, how you act, how you behave, maybe your relationships, maybe your ability to maybe you're feeling stuck in some level. So it's easy to identify these emotions and get rid of them. And that's what we're doing here. We're doing the emotion code, as I showed you before, from Dr. Bradley Nelson. And you can get this book here. You can get this book on Amazon here. And you see there's a foreword here by Tony Robbins, who has had this work done, believes very much in this work. And Greg Braden talks as well about how amazing this work is. And that's why the emotion code body code is one of the fastest growing methods or modalities of healing now on the planet. Why? Because it's fast, it's effective, it's efficient, It's simple. It's easy. And anyone can do it. As a matter of fact, children even do this work. And I have taught it to a couple of kids, and they get it right away. They really get it right away, which is interesting. Us as adults, we have our own preconceived notions around various things. And I know at first I was the same when I first came across the emotion code. I was always looking for things to help my patients, different ways to help my patients as a massage therapist. And when I came across the emotion code, I thought, well, how could this be? How could an emotion of anger be impacting your liver, which is affecting your shoulder? How can that be? So what I started to do is I started to do some experimenting with my patients, and I started to, if I was working on a particular area, whether it was a shoulder or lower back or a neck, I would ask, is there some emotions tied into this particular area that we can release? And if I found some, I would release them, and quite often we would find that the muscles, the tension in the muscles would just diminish with very, very quickly. And what that did, it allowed me to go in deeper into the tissues and work out all those knots. Doesn't that feel good? Oh, I could use a massage myself. But get in there, work out those knots. So emotions play such a huge role. They affect our abundance, our health, our happiness. Everything is affected by those emotions. So again, if you're here and you'd like to volunteer, all we need from you is we need just the emotion or the feeling that you're experiencing or the thoughts you have around COVID-19, the severity of that issue on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very severe. We need your permission to do the work for you, and then what we need is, and then we give you a minute or so, and you can send us a message to let us know how you're doing. So the emotion code and body code that Dr. Nelson developed over 20 years of working on it, why did he do this? Well, one, he wanted us to have more control over our own health and well-being. And that's really the way it should be. It's up to us, we control our health and well-being. We control it through our diets. We control it through our thoughts. We control it through our experiences. All these things can affect us, our emotions. And we control so much of it that we should be more responsible for our health, and that's the way it should be. We should be preventing things, not just waiting for things to happen. So he wanted to be able to come up with a system that people could use themselves to help themselves to be healthier and happier. And that's why when he first came out with a book, and I got the book, I just started reading the book, and I started working on myself right away. And I had a cat as well at the time, and these emotions were also can be found in our pets. I've worked on lots of animals over the years, cats and dogs and horses, and I'll give you an example. I worked on a horse once. The owner lives probably 100 miles or so from here. She'd called me up. She was familiar with me and the work I was doing. And she told me that the horse had gone lame. So she asked me if I could check out the horse and see what was going on. So I had the permission to do that, and I accessed the subconscious of the horse, again, through muscle testing. Once I tested strong for that horse's name, then I asked what was going on. Why did this horse go lame? And what we found was interesting. And there was some emotions in that leg that horse had gone lame. There was some sadness there in one of the bones of the lower leg. And then there was some sorrow as well in some of the muscles there. I think there was 3 or 4 emotions there. And what had happened was a month or so earlier, this horse had lost his best friend horse. So imagine losing your best friend, right? And so this horse had lost its best friend. And all these emotions were impacting. The horse had held on to the emotions and was still feeling them, and it was causing this horse to go lame. So again, once we identified those emotions and we released them using the magnet and the tension, within a very short time, that horse was back to normal. So if you have pets or have horses or dogs or cats, I've even worked on a lovebird once, they have all the same emotions that we do. And it makes me wonder, I wonder if our pets are actually feeling our emotions that are tied into COVID-19. I wonder if they're actually picking up on some of them and maybe holding on to them. And those are what we call absorbed emotions. So when we absorb emotion, this is the way this works. Let's say I'm feeling really good and I go visit my friend Bob, and Bob is feeling depressed. And I spend an hour or so with him, and then about an hour or so later I leave, and now I'm feeling depressed. At that point, I can decide to hold on to that emotion or I can let it go. If I hold on to that emotion, it becomes what we call a trapped emotion. It's now part of our energy field, and part of our energy field is vibrating that emotion. So that's how we can absorb emotions. We can also share emotions with other people. It's kind of like a cold again. You get a cold, you share it with someone who shares it with someone. It goes around and around, and sometimes it even comes back. So these are shared emotions. There's also hidden emotions that we do not, on a conscious level, we just kind of buried them. Maybe something happened when we were 5 or 6 years old, some experience, and we're just burying those emotions. And now they're in our energy field. And I know I've worked with a number of people over the years who will tell me, I just don't remember anything at all from the ages 6 to 8. I just have hardly memory, or I can't recall very much around that time. And quite often, the answer, of course, is in the subconscious, but quite often something happened or during that time, there's something maybe very, very serious that happened, and they just don't want to even deal with it or address it. Well, the nice thing is we can actually get rid of that stuff for you, even 30 years later. You don't have to hold on to that any longer. You can release those emotions. You can feel better. You can be happier. You can be healthier. It's easy, using the emotion code. So if you just joined us again today, we're doing the COVID-19 Minute Clinic. If you have any, if you're feeling some emotions around COVID-19 that you'd like to delete, or any thoughts around that, then all we need from you is we need the emotion or the thoughts that you have. Just send us a message here, message us with that. Give us the severity on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is very severe. Give us your permission to work on you. And then after you've done some work, we'll wait a minute. And then you can give us another update on how you're doing. I worked on someone this morning and we released 3 emotions. And afterwards, they said they were feeling much, much lighter. So it's very quick. It's very easy. The emotion code is going all over the world. Why? Because it works. And it's been showing itself to work with thousands and thousands of people all over the world. So again, if you're watching and just joining us today, just let us know what your name is, where you're from. And if you'd like to have some of our work done on you, we are doing those emotion code sessions, free emotion code sessions for you here today. So we have here we have some from Sharon here. She says she's feeling some grief at the loss of not being able to meet up with family as we planned. And I said there's something else here. And I keep thinking she could just push the date, but I'm not so sure now, feeling sad about that. So again, this is something that's some of us have not been able to be with our family. My mother lives in the same town here and she's in her 80s and I have not seen her really, had a chance to spend time with her. We've talked on the phone, but I understand that feeling of grief or loss that you have when you can't get together with your family, your grandchildren, your children, whatever it is. So do I have your permission here then, Sharon, then? Okay, so just give us your permission here and what you feel the severity of this grief is on a scale of 1 to 10. And then we have something that we can work with here. So if you want to do that for us, Sharon. So just this grief. So again, we need to know the emotions or thoughts you're feeling, what the severity of these issues are for you on a scale of 1 to 10, and with your permission. So if you want to put that in, we have Sharon's permission here. So again, we're going to use muscle testing, and I'm going to use what we call proxy, which is distance healing. I'm going to stand in for your subconscious here, Sharon, move my subconscious out of the way. So when I'm muscle testing, I'm testing for your subconscious here, okay? So she said it's about a 6 out of 10, this grief, this loss that she's feeling around not being able to get together or see her family. Or she's saying it's a 7 now, maybe it's a 7. Well, we're going to find out, Sharon, because we're going to ask your subconscious, and guess what? Your subconscious knows everything about you. Everything from the time you were conceived, what you feel, what you experience, everything is there. So we're going to do that. So I have your permission here, Sharon. So I'm going to ask, can I act as a proxy then for Sharon? Yes, I can. Do you have a good connection with Sharon? Yes, I do. My name is Sharon. Yes, my name is John. No. So now we're energetically connected here, Sharon. So I'm going to ask, is there something that we can release for you around this whole COVID-19? Is there something we can release for you around this, Sharon, using the emotion code? Yes. How many emotions are we talking about? There's actually 4 emotions here, Sharon, that we're coming up with here. And remember, we're going to use our emotion code chart here. And we're going to identify which one is it, which ones are they in column A, column B, which ones. And once we've identified them, we're going to delete them using our magnet. So are these emotions that you're feeling around COVID-19, around this grief, this loss, about not being able to feel family? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 emotions. And again, are any in column A? Yes. Are they all in column A? Yes. So which row? Row number 1? No. Row number 2. There's some anxiety that you're feeling around that here. That's the first one coming up from your subconscious. And what's the next one? Is it in column A? Yes. Which row? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's actually some resentment as well, some resentment around this, not being able to just get on a plane and go see your family. Any others? Yes, in column A, no. Column B, again, which row? Row number 1, number 2, number 3. There's some grief there as well showing up for you. And any others in column A, no. Column B, which row? 1, 2, 3, 4. Row number 5, there's some, is it conflict, creative insecurity, some tear, some unsupported. There's some what we call wishy-washy. Wishy-washy means kind of not standing up for yourself, or not speaking up for yourself, or not telling your truth sometimes. That's wishy-washy. So any other emotions here for you here then, Sharon? I'm just going to double check here. No. Any hidden ones, any absorbed ones or shared ones? Any psychic trauma ones? And there's 2 trauma energies here as well. So we're going to work on those trauma energies that are tied into the emotions. There's 2 of those as well. So first of all, let's get rid of the emotions for you here. So we're going to work on the anxiety for you here. We're going to roll that magnet 3 times. We're releasing that anxiety for you. Any hidden anxiety, shared anxiety, absorbed anxiety, any vibrational resonances of anxiety for you, and psychic traumas of anxiety and shock. I'm releasing resentment for you, Sharon, and any hidden resentment and shared resentment, and psychic trauma energies of resentment, trauma energies of resentment, and in grief and hidden grief and absorbed grief and shared grief, and wishy-washy and hidden wishy-washy and absorbed wishy-washy, shared wishy-washy. Again, I'm just making some assumptions here that some of these are hidden or shared. And let's take a breath on that one. And did release those for you then, Sharon? Yes, we did. Were they released to 100%? Yes. So what was the severity of this whole issue for you on a scale of 1 to 10 around not being able to get on a plane and see the family, the grief, the loss around that? Was it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? It was a 9 out of 10 when we started here then, Sharon. So where is it now? Is it a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4? It's down to a 3 out of 10. Now remember we said there was some trauma energies here
a couple of trauma energies. These tend to go in with the emotions, and this is where I use my trauma energy chart here. And let's see, which trauma energies for you then, Sharon, are any in column A? No, column B. Which row? Row number 1. Is it trauma energy of hurt feelings? Does that make any sense there, Sharon? So the trauma energy here of some hurt feelings around this whole issue here, not being able to see the family, get on a plane, the loss, the grief around that. So that's hurt feelings. And what is the second trauma energy? Remember there's 2 of them, Sharon. So what's the second one? Is it in column A, B, row C? Is it, which row? 1, 2, 3, 4, row number 5, row number 6. Is it hatred, exasperation? There's some disappointment there. Trauma energy of hurt feelings and disappointment. Does that make sense to you, Sharon? Along with those emotions that we released of anxiety, resentment, grief, and wishy-washy, we have these trauma energies. So I'm going to ask, do we need to know more in order to release these trauma energies here for you then, Sharon? No, we don't. So we're going to release the trauma energy here of hurt feelings. And any hidden trauma energies of hurt feelings as well around this, and shared ones and absorbed ones. And we're also going to release the trauma energy here of disappointment. I understand that one as well. And any hidden trauma energies of disappointment and shared trauma energies of disappointment and absorbed trauma energies of disappointment. Take a nice breath on that one here, Sharon. And did we release those emotions then for you? Yes, to 100%. And did we release those trauma energies for you? Yes, to 100%. Yes. So now, what's the severity of that issue for you around that loss, not being able to see the family, the grief around that? Is it a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0? So we've got that one down to a 0 now. So Sharon, if you want to wait a minute or so and just give us an update as to how you're feeling, how you're doing. So when we release these emotions are gone and gone forever from your energy field. Sometimes it takes a while for the body to process these emotions. Sometimes it can take a day or two, especially for doing a lot of work on someone, releasing a lot of things in a session. It can sometimes take a day or two, but most things happen fairly quickly. So if you want to give us an update in a minute or so, Sharon, as to how you're doing, that would be great. So again, if you just joined us, welcome to the COVID-19 Minute Clinic here. We're deleting any emotions or thoughts that you may have around COVID-19 that are maybe impacting you, affecting your physical health, your mental, your emotional health. So we're identifying those and releasing those for you. And remember to drink lots of water after you had a session or during a session as well. So just so you know, you can go to my website at visionshealing.com and you can download actually a menu of all the different things that we use the emotion code for to help people. Download a menu if you like. If any of these things sort of hit home for you and you want some help, you can just contact me through my website and you can hire me if you like. And mostly what I do for people are 30-minute sessions. And sometimes I can release 2 or 3 different issues in one session by itself. And there's an area as well that I like to share with you. It's something that I specialized in when I first started doing this work. This is what we call heart walls. And heart walls, these are invisible walls that we put up around our heart. Why do we do this? We do this to protect ourselves from being hurt. So these heart walls can impact our physical health. They can affect our ability, our success in life, our relationships. Many, many things are affected by these heart walls. So imagine if you started trapping emotions when you were 1 or 2 years old around your heart, fear, anxiety, maybe some depression, maybe anger, maybe resentment, maybe indecisiveness, whatever it is. Imagine if you started to build this wall of emotions around your heart, and over time this wall can be thick with emotions, and sometimes we measure them. I've had heart walls that have been, a few inches thick for someone, and I've had heart walls that have been miles thick for people. And each emotion can take up a different amount of space. in that heart wall. So having a heart wall released is probably one of the most life-changing things you can do for yourself. And that's something that you can do. You just go to my website if you're interested. Just let me know or book a session and we'll do that for you. So again, if you just joined us here today, we're doing the COVID-19 Minute Clinic here. And we've been working on some volunteers, helping them to release some emotions or thoughts all around COVID-19, how it's impacting you. Maybe it's impacting your family, maybe your work, maybe your health overall. So we're doing those sessions for people here today, and we'll be doing the same on Monday. Today, Monday, we're doing it on Wednesday and Friday of this week at 9 a.m. We're doing these. So if you want to tag some other people for this, we're doing this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of this week. And I look like I may continue again next week, just doing these free clinics. So I just got a message here from Sharon. She was going to say, I feel a little bit lighter, but the words that came to me were that it's not as large a problem as I feel emotionally. It will all work out as it should. So I guess that means I should stop thinking about it and let happen what is meant to happen. Yeah, so yes, you're feeling a little lighter. Why? Because we're getting rid of some of that baggage for you, Sharon, and that's great. And again, these big things that are big problems sometimes become smaller issues once we get rid of some of the emotions around those issues for us. You know, if there's something that you did once in your life and it was very fearful for you, and you did this and you felt this fear, that might stop you from doing that thing again. Or maybe you felt that fear just because it was a new experience for you. And a lot of times we are, like doing these Facebook Lives, for me, I had to release a few emotions because there was a little fear for me to get live here and work with people, even though I've been doing it for years. So I had to do some work on myself. So we all have these trapped emotions. They all impact us. So if we can lighten your load a little bit and get rid of some of these emotions or these thoughts for you, then we know you're going to feel a little bit better. So thanks for the update, Sharon. So again, if you just joined us, we're going to be repeating this on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard this week. Be sure to tag some friends. Come and join us again. And also, just want to let you know of another upcoming event with Michael Losier, the author of The Law of Attraction. We'll be doing an emotion code online summit on Sunday, May the 10th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And this particular summit, there'll be 5 practitioners on this summit. I'm one of the practitioners, and we'll be working on issues to do with money and abundance. So we're going to work with people here. There's 5 different practitioners, and we're all going to work on a different part of that issue for you. And you're welcome to come and join us, and that's on May the 10th. And if you go to Michael Losier Fan, Facebook Live, Michael Losier Fan, you're going to see, and I will send out a flyer on that as well. So that's coming up on Sunday, the May the 10th. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you got something of value out of this. We'll be back at you here on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.